Welcome to the Joy of Cruising podcast with your host, award-winning author Paul C. Thornton, a weekly conversation with the amazing cruisers featured in the Joy of Cruising books, comprised of The Joy of Cruising, Cruising Interrupted, new release, The Joy of Cruising Again, as well as other fun, informative global cruise personalities. It's the next best thing to cruising, hearing about cruising from the unique and diverse perspectives of Paul's amazing guests. If you hear about a cruise that interests you, book it at www.thejoyofvacation.com or enter to win a free cruise for two. Again, www.thejoyofvacation.com. We really appreciate your feedback, so leave us a text. Paul can't reply, but he may read your text on the air.
Hello, passionate cruisers. This is Paul, and I am delighted to welcome this week on the Joy of Cruising podcast a special guest, Patrice Covington. We were introduced to Patrice on our recent anniversary cruise to the ABC Islands in the Southern Caribbean on Celebrity Ascent. Patrice was one of the headliners and put on a show called Your Whitney Tonight, a Whitney Houston tribute. Patrice Covington is an Emmy Award-winning Broadway television and film actress. She is an accomplished singer, actor, voiceover artist, media personality, and educator of the arts. As a Broadway veteran, Patrice has graced the world's renowned Broadway and toured the globe with all-star Broadway casts in several shows, including The Book of Mormon, Motown the Musical, Ain't Misbehaving, Dreamgirls, and the Emmy, Grammy, and Tony Award-winning revival of The Color Purple. As a vocalist, she has traveled the world providing background vocals for top bill performers, including Jennifer Hudson, Christina Aguilera, and Stevie Wonder. Patrice has performed on stages nationwide with the Hollywood Bowl Orchestra, the Virginia Symphony, the American Pops Orchestra, and the Dallas Symphony Orchestra. She also dazzles vacationers aboard cruise lines with her perfectly curated shows featuring music of the women she was influenced and inspired by. On television, Patrice is best known for a role as Irma Franklin in National Geographic's anthology series Genius Aretha, a biopic about the legendary Aretha Franklin, and Gracie in Amazon's TV series A League of Their Own, a reimagining of the hit 1992 film. She can also be seen in guest star roles on All Rise, Chicago PD, and the new series Sincerely Love. Patrice acts opposite Nicole Kidman in the upcoming murder mystery series The Perfect Couple on Netflix, and as the lead in a new made-for-TV movie For What It's Worth on BET. Patrice is the owner and operator of the Galaxy Space, a performing arts studio by Patrice Covington, offering private training and part of the faculty at the Governor's School for the Arts in Norfolk, Virginia. Patrice is a proud member of the illustrious Delta Sigma Theta Sorority, Incorporated. Inspired by Matthew 5:14-16, her trademark motto is, "Don't be a star, be a galaxy," a phrase meant to inspire and motivate humans to not only shine their light, but to share the light with others, because there's truly enough for all. Hey, before I bring on Patrice, just a little warning. I have a cold today, so my Brooklyn monotone will sound a little more monotonous. Welcome, Patrice, to the Joy of Cruising podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Great to see you again. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
Pretty good, pretty good. Before we discuss your amazing career, tell our listeners about yourself in general, where you're from, growing up, where you live, anything else you would like to share.
Yeah, I am Patrice Covington. I am born and raised in Chesapeake, Virginia, which is the Hampton Roads area. Lots of people are a little more familiar with maybe Virginia Beach or Norfolk. Also, Chesapeake is not to be confused with the Chesapeake Bay. That's a whole other place. But that's where I'm born and raised. I spent 21 years living between New York and Los Angeles. And about a year and a half ago, I came back home because we can now. One of the blessings from the pandemic was that they figured out that we can audition from home. We don't have to be in the studio. So that blessed me to be able to move back home to be with my loved ones and my family members. So that's where I am now. I'm out of the big city and I am back living in Chesapeake.
Well, I'm calling you from North Carolina, so we're not that far apart. Uh, and I'll be headed up
Oh,
to Virginia for Thanksgiving. My wife's sisters, uh, sisters and her family all live in the Richmond area, so that's
oh yeah.
Thanksgiving this year.
Okay. Well, safe travels to you.
Thank you, thank you. So I tried to give a few highlights during the intro, but take us through your career like you did for the audience on Celebrity Ascent.
Well, I started out doing theater. It's my first love and how I fell in love with this business. So I did a bunch of Broadway shows, Broadway productions such as Dreamgirls, Ain't Misbehavin', Book of Mormon, um, and Motown the Musical, and The Color Purple was my last one. Um, Toured all over the world with those shows, both nationally and internationally. Got to meet some amazing people and do some great things, telling stories. Among my favorite is Ain't Misbehavin'. Well, really, I love all of them, but Ain't Misbehavin', and Dreamgirls and The Color Purple, I would say are probably my top three. Um, and we won a Tony, a Grammy, and I have an Emmy. I also have a Grammy nomination from Ain't Misbehavin'. The other three that I mentioned are from The Color Purple. And then when I was in my heart done with doing theater, I wanted to move to Los Angeles. So I did. And I wanted to focus on doing television and film. It took a while for that to land. So in the meantime, because of The Color Purple, I met Jennifer Hudson. We became very good friends, and she invited me to come on the road with her to sing background with her. She calls her singers the Hudsonettes. And so I went on tour with her. And
Wow.
when that happened, it opened up a world in the industry that I had never really quite considered being a part of. And so when she had a little break, I was given a call by Stevie Wonder. And I went on tour with Stevie Wonder. And then after that, I got a call from Christina Aguilera's people. So went on tour with her, did a Vegas residency with her. And then I finally got to do some television. And my debut television show was Genius Aretha, which is a show that originally aired on National Geographic, but can now be seen on Disney Plus and Hulu. Genius Aretha is about the life of Aretha Franklin. And I had the honor of playing Irma Franklin, who's her sister. So I appear in 6 out of the 8 episodes there. As a series regular, it was my very first job on television. And I've just been really blessed since then doing television and continuing to sing when opportunities come my way. And I do a few other things too.
You know, that was funny on stage when you told the story about Stevie Wonder wanting you to send him a tape.
Yeah, he wanted to see a video.
Yeah, your timing was perfect. uh, to talk about Stevie's such a musical hero to all of us. Talk about that and what it was like to perform with him.
Well, definitely, yeah, a legend. You know, we don't have very many legends left here. We seem to be losing them all the time now. So my prayer is that he stays protected as a national treasure. But he truly, you know, singing his music that's so iconic, the music that I've heard my entire life, but doing it, in Europe with him was just it was really life-changing. His fan base is so vast and just so diverse. I don't know who doesn't love Stevie Wonder, and you could feel that energy from far and wide every single time we performed. It was a beautiful experience.
Now, contrast that with performing with some of like Christina Aguilera and, of course, Jennifer.
Oh, well, the same, really. Fans are fans. I just think that Stevie Wonder obviously probably has more, and people who have been fans for a longer time, just simply because, Stevie Wonder was a kid star, really. And I don't know if a lot of people even realize that Stevie Wonder started this thing really, really young. He was a teenager.
Yeah,
Um,
little Stevie Wonder.
Little Stevie Wonder, yep. So, Christina Aguilera, we performed in Vegas, and, she's my era. When I was in middle and high school, she was super popular as a teen star as well. So, it was interesting to see, like, my age group people just coming fanning out to their songs from, like, when we were in high school. I just could relate a little bit more to the nostalgia for that because it was my age group. Stevie Wonder just feels like my whole life because I mean, all his songs are old to me
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
they've been old my whole life. But with Christina Aguilera, her songs were fresh when I was coming up. So I really appreciated that with her. And um, Jennifer Hudson, her fans love her story. They're so supportive. They feel very touched and inspired. And her concerts are almost like a gospel concert. Her voice is just so anointing, and people, they just love her. They love her so much. So, yeah.
Well, mentioning a voice that's so anointing, Cheryl's my wife, and I met you, you're a sorority sister, met you on Ascent
Hmm.
at the Tribute to Whitney Houston show. And, your voice it was just amazing, and it was easy well, I never saw Whitney live, but it was easy to kind of imagine Whitney singing up there live. Talk about what Whitney meant to you and how she inspired you growing up.
Yes, I love Whitney Houston. She's not known as the voice for no reason. She truly is just unmatched. Her music, it's still like I love how children today still know her music. That's how iconic she is. But when I was a little girl, she was a young woman in her career, and I just thought she was so beautiful. Thought she was so pretty, and I also just loved her music. It was fun. It was sweet. It was beautiful. And so I used to try to emulate
Hmm.
her. I was heavily inspired by Whitney, and I love that it shows up in my natural voice now. I've never tried to imitate her. I definitely don't want to be known as a Whitney impersonator because I'm not, but I am someone who is extremely inspired by her music and her sound and her style. And so, when I was a little girl, I would actually record myself singing her music. I had two boom boxes and I would record myself singing along with her as I played the tape from the other boom box. So I felt like she was like, my personal music teacher that I never got to meet, but I definitely feel like that.
No, no, so you never got, I was just getting ready to ask you, did you ever meet her?
I never
Uh,
did, and I never saw her in concert.
Before we move away a little bit from the arts and performing and Broadway, another person that we lost recently in that field, did you ever get to meet Quincy Jones?
I have gotten to meet Quincy Jones. He was, the creator of the music for The Color Purple. So throughout my time and experiences with that, I did get to meet him.
Really?
Very funny guy.
Yeah, he was just so
Yeah.
multifaceted as a performer, producer, director, creator. I mean, he's associated with movies, plays, and the best-selling music of all time.
Yes. There's an excellent documentary on Netflix called Q that if you haven't seen that, you should watch it. It's so informative and just awesome to see from where he came and how he just made himself a superstar, icon, legend.
Well, thank you for that. I have to check that out. I also have to check out, until you mention it, the National Geographic production of the Aretha documentary. Now, is that on? What is that on now?
You can find it on Hulu and
Okay,
Disney
okay, you
Plus.
did say that. Okay, let's shift gears a little bit and talk about cruising. My listeners always are interested in a guest cruising background. Besides performing on cruise ships, are you much of a cruiser?
No, I'm not.
Okay. So take us back. When and on what ship was your first cruise?
We'll be right back.
The Joy of Cruising podcast guests receive a gift sponsored by GigSky of a 3 gigabyte cruise plus land data package valued at $60. Relying on ship Wi-Fi is slow, unsecure, and sometimes not available. And at foreign ports, travelers don't want to pay their carriers high fees. GigSky provides a solution that will save them a significant amount of money. To get your own data package usable on the ship or in ports, here is my link to GigSky. https://gigsky.pxf.io/NLOXOR. This can be found in the show notes below. For a 10% discount, use the code Joy of Cruising.
As much as I'm not a cruiser for personal reasons, I've found myself on cruise ships what now seems like, well over half my life. I am, like I said before, I'm from Chesapeake, Virginia Beach area, and we're surrounded by water. And so we were when I was about 16 years old, we were one of about, I think, 6 cities that had a cruise line called Spirit Cruises.
Mm-hmm.
And Spirit Cruises, it was a dinner cruise ship. We would go out in the harbor for like 3 hours and come back. And people would have their family reunions and, class reunions and graduation parties and stuff like that up there all the time. And so at 16 years old, that was one of my first jobs. I had a job singing on the Spirit of Norfolk.
Oh, wow.
And I did that. I worked on Spirit Cruises in Norfolk as well as in New York City from 2000, actually 1999. From 1999 until about 2008, I worked on those ships between Norfolk and New York.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had a little break in that time because in 2004, I got what at the time was like my dream job. I couldn't wait to do it. It meant so much to me. I went to work for Disney Cruise Lines. I was one of their production cast
Oh,
members.
wow.
So that was from 2000. I started in 2005, I think, and I did about maybe 6 or 7 months there. And then I didn't get on another cruise ship outside of the Spirit. I didn't get on another cruise ship until about 2018. And that's when I started working for doing guest entertainment work for Azamara
Very
Cruises.
nice. Very nice
I
cruise
did
line.
that, maybe did like yeah, they're great. I maybe did 3 or 4 contracts there as a guest entertainer. And then, the big C happened. So nobody was on ships for a while. And then I just started back up in July, actually.
Well, the big C, as you say, greatly impacted us cruise lovers. How did it affect your life as an entertainer, not just on cruise ships, but in general?
Yeah. Much like everybody else, work stopped and was different. At the time that COVID came out, I was actually filming Genius Aretha, and we had to stop filming abruptly. We shut down, and we didn't know if we were going to be able to finish filming. We were glad that they wanted to, because there were a lot of productions that were like, yeah, we're just going to call it quits. We're not going to come back. But for us, they definitely wanted to bring it back to make this story something that people got to learn more about. But we shut down in March, of course, and we didn't go back until, I want to say it was either like October or November of that year. So all that time was just sitting and waiting and wondering and praying if we're going to get to come back. When are we going to get to come back? The show was originally supposed to film from, I think, maybe December to May, but it ended up being, and that was December of course, 19 to May of 20, but it ended up being December of 19 until like January of 21 or so. And when we came back to work, we had to have, special face coverings, and certain people couldn't be they had to keep us separated. Like the actors couldn't mix and mingle with other people. It was very strict, very annoying. But we got it done, and I'm grateful that we were able to push through that.
Talk about your first contract on the ocean after the COVID shutdown.
Well, that was just this past July, July of 24. I
So that was with Celebrity?
It was with Celebrity, yes.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yes, I think it was the Eclipse was my first one. Celebrity Eclipse. And a lot of times the guest entertainers are booked way in advance, a year in advance even. They know what their schedule is going to be. But, so because of the world of entertainment, other things come up and contracts can't be fulfilled. And so they have to find a replacement. And so that's actually what I was. I was a replacement. It was my very, very first contract. And I was only scheduled for that when I didn't have any more scheduled. And so I did that. And by the time I landed, I had, I want to say 3 or 4 more offers that were coming up within the next few months. And so since then, I have been on approximately, I like to say approximately 2 cruises a month. Sometimes it's been more, sometimes it's been less, but
Mm-hmm.
it's about that much on average. Since July, when I leave this weekend, I will be on I believe it will be my 10th cruise.
Still on this weekend, still on Celebrity?
No, this weekend I'm actually going back on Azamara.
Okay, okay. So on that first show, when you came back and you substituted, did you do the same show that we saw on Ascent? Did you do the kind of the Whitney show?
Yes, I
Hmm.
did. That's my main show. That's my girl.
How do you like performing on the ocean? I mean, what's is are there special challenges versus performing on Broadway and other venues?
Yes, for sure. Nothing rocks like a ship. So I definitely have had moments of like where I feel like a little sick, or I feel like a little unstable because of the ship moving. I've got on heels, I'm trying to dance, and sometimes I use the lift for the stage. So, it just depends on if I am comfortable, with how the ship is moving. So there's that. And then also, when you're on a ship, you don't get to perform with the same band every night. Every time I perform, it's somebody different. So, I've never rehearsed with them before, nothing.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning with the band behind you on the when we saw you. I think you said you met them
Hmm.
the previous day. So
Not even that day.
yeah, that was very impressive. I mean, it looked like it looked
Thank you.
seamless to the audience. You
Thank
know.
you.
Yeah, I went to I'm a big fan of what's called the theme cruises. I've been to the smooth
Hmm.
jazz cruise. Maxwell has had a cruise on the ocean, sort of an R&B cruise. I went to that. So I've been to a number of music oriented cruises. I will tell you, I won't say his name, but he's not a big star. He's sort of a mid level R&B star, but he was very obviously seasick, and but they helped him to his spot on the stage, and then he sat down and he sang all of his hits, and he was a trooper. I thought it was really he really came through. He did his whole set, but he was very obviously sick.
Yeah, I can
Yep, yep.
imagine. It's tough.
So when not performing or acting in series or plays or whatever, how do you spend your me time, Patrice? Any hobbies, pastimes besides music?
Well, I'm loving being back with my family here in Virginia. So I spent a lot of time with my amazing, perfect little 3-year-old nephew, Royce.
Hey, Roy.
And and I have two dogs. I have a Frenchie named Halo. He's 3. He's my boyfriend's dog, but he's my dog now too. And then I have my dog of 13 years. Her name is Lyric. She's a Cavapoo. And we hang out. We go on nice long walks in the park and the beach. And I love to work out. I love to move my body. I also teach. I'm a teacher at a performing arts high school. And I also have a private studio where I teach students singing and acting.
Very good, very good. I'm sure you listen to a lot of music.
There's always music.
Do you listen to other genres besides R&B, jazz, hip hop, whatever?
Yes, I listen to hip hop, I listen to jazz, listen to gospel. I also really enjoy listening to um it's called lo-fi. Um it's just so like I actually like to listen to it when I'm cleaning or if I'm like doing some boring adulting, like, admin work, like paying bills or something. It helps me focus. It helps me focus, and it's just a really nice music. I love it.
Yeah, I actually listened to that. I got into this sub genre called chill and
Hmm.
lo-fi. I started going to like chill playlists and chill channels,
Hmm.
and lo-fi seems to be like a subgenre of chill. But anyway,
Oh, okay.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I actually enjoy listening to that. It zones me out
hmm
or in
hmm
something.
Do you do much leisure traveling? Traveling when you're not working, being paid for it?
Sometimes, sometimes, I definitely enjoy the travel that I don't have to pay for, but I do travel a bit. My favorite city in the United States is Chicago. So I love to visit that city. And then I have friends that live in North Carolina, and of course, I see my friends in New York and LA. So I travel to see my friends and family here and there, and also DC, Maryland. Yeah, so I do a little bit. And then as far as like out of the country traveling, that is kind of rare that I do it without having to work. But I do have a couple of trips planned for 2025, including Paris.
Oh
So
wow,
I'm looking forward to that. Yeah.
yeah.
I've been before, but it's been a long time.
I just went to Paris for the first time a few months ago. Um, it was a river cruise, Emma Waterways river cruise, and they have a special group of cruises they offer called Soulful Experiences or Soulful Expressions. I can't remember which. And it's like their regular itinerary, but they bolster it with cultural excursions and cultural entertainment. And, we did the southern France, and then there was a 3-day stop in Paris added to it. And I didn't realize how much Black history uh, Paris has. Of course, Josephine Baker and all that. But we did a couple of special Black history tours in Paris, so it was wonderful.
Yeah.
That was nice. So, do you have a travel bucket list? Any place do you want to go to that's not booked yet?
Well, I'm actually doing part of it this weekend. I when I leave, I'm going to Africa
Oh
on the
wow!
Azamara cruises.
Take me with you.
Yeah, it's I'm really excited to go to I'm going in Namibia, but I get off the ship in Cape Town. So I'm going to spend a little extra time there. And then I really want to go to Ghana and Australia. And believe it or not, I've never been to Hawaii or Alaska. I've been to every other state except those two. So that's on my list for this year as well. Thankfully, I'm in a good place with the cruise lines, and they're kind of letting me go where I want to go. So I've given them my list, and on that list, I've included Australia, Thailand, Hawaii, Alaska, and Iceland.
Wow! I hope you get them all.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did Hawaii and Alaska in one trip last year. It was
Oh.
it was a really special cruise. A small ship called the Norwegian Spirit. Started in Alaska and then did 6 sea days up. No, it started in Hawaii and did 6 sea days up to Alaska.
Oh, very
So I
nice.
hope I hope you get them all.
Thank you.
Promote yourself, Patrice. Any tours or events you would like to tell our listeners about other than your upcoming cruise performances? Are you have any other live events
I
coming?
actually do not at the moment. No live events, but you can always run it back and look at some of the things that I've done on television. That's the blessing of having streaming right now. So I know a lot of cruisers are Chicago PD fans. So run it back to season 11, which is this just past season. Starting with episode 5, you can see me as
Okay.
Teresa Westbrook. Also, The Perfect Couple on Netflix with Nicole Kidman. I'm in episode 1 of that with her. There's a movie called For What It's Worth on BET Plus. I'm the lead of that movie. I also, like I told you about Genius Aretha. Another favorite of mine is A League of Their Own, which is on Amazon Prime, which is based on the movie of the same name from the 90s called A League of Their Own with Rosie O'Donnell and Madonna. I play a character named Gracie. She does not play baseball, but I am in 5 of the 8 episodes there, so they can find me there as well. And something pretty cool, there's a new, everybody loves Christmas movies on Lifetime. So there's a Lifetime Christmas movie coming out on December 7th called A Very Merry Beauty Salon. And I sing the theme song in the trailer to the movie.
Oh, okay. You're not in it, but you sing those.
I'm not in it, but you can hear
Okay.
my voice on the trailer. Yep,
Now speaking of holiday music, I know you have a holiday song available.
I do.
Uh, Tell our listeners about it and how they might get it.
Thank you. Yes, there is a song that everyone loves called My Favorite Things. I did a cover of it. It can be found on any streaming platform, whatever you use. Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, Amazon, whatever you have, it is there. You just have to tell them to play. My Favorite Things by Patrice Covington and the Keith Harris Experience. And I hope that you run those numbers up and have a good time listening to it over the holiday season and beyond.
Now, can we can should we hope for an entire album for next holiday season?
I certainly hope I'll get it done at some point. This song I've actually done, I did it in 2020. So we're running on 4 years old with that song. It gets more and more popular every year. I'm always grateful to see that it's being played on radio stations during the holiday season. But yeah, at some point, I will record more. I love Christmas music, so it would be ideal.
Well, I got you some additional plays because the first promo of this episode that I put on Instagram, I chose it as the background song. So,
Oh, awesome. Thank
and there's
you.
some people who have, listened and shared, and so we're getting you a little bit of play.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
Well, Patrice, before we let you go, a couple of what I call fun cruise questions, maybe light cruise questions. So this helps me out. This first one is kind of an easy one, but I get some great ideas. What are your favorite cruise drinks and cruise food?
Oh man, cruise drinks. I love a margarita and a pina colada. Oh, and a mojito. I like all those fun beachy Caribbean drinks. They're great. And then and I always love champagne. That's my favorite of all time, wherever. And then food, I don't know why that pizza is always so good. The pizza's great.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You said you like fun, beachy drinks, and I know you mentioned pina colada. Try a Miami Vice, which is half
Okay.
pina colada, half strawberry daiquiri.
Okay. I'll try it.
Yeah, it's kind of, it's a fun drink. It's also kind of fun. Sometimes they, show a little flair in making it, the
Okay.
way it's kind of displayed in the glass. So,
Uh-huh. Okay, yeah, I'll give it a try.
a second question, what's your most memorable or funniest or even most embarrassing cruise ship experience?
The thing that comes to mind was when I was on Disney Cruise Lines. Of course, everything is Disney themed.
Sure.
And I played a character named Rona Rivers, who was ultimately like the Black version of Joan Rivers.
Okay.
And Rona Rivers did the red carpet as people were entering the theater for a show called the Golden Mickeys. And the Golden Mickeys were like the Emmys or the Oscars or whatever. So they would give out awards to like Disney characters throughout the show. But Rona Rivers would interview guests that were coming in, and the show, whatever I was interviewing or saying in the lobby was being shown in the theater at the same time on a live stream.
Mm-hmm.
And after the Golden Mickey's performance was always a party that was like a Cinderella themed. Well, no, it wasn't. It was like a Disney themed party, and all the characters would come. And I would ask the cruise director questions like, well, who do you think is going to be there? Who are you looking forward to seeing? What do you think, what do you think Snow White is going to wear? Stuff like that. And one time I asked the cruise director, I said, well, who do you think is going to be there? And she starts naming, oh, Mickey and Minnie and everybody. And I said, well, do you think Cinderella is going to be there? And she goes, oh, yes, absolutely. It's a big party. And Cinderella loves big balls. And I had to do everything I could to keep my face together on this children's cruise that was also being live streamed in the theater. Yeah. And so I was embarrassed, even though I wasn't the one that said it, but it just was a wild moment.
Well, You know, Patrice, I last year was my first year in podcasting. At the end of the year, I did a sort of clips of various shows, you know, the most poignant moment, the most embarrassing moment, the funniest, you know, just various fun moments from throughout the year. I got a feeling Cinderella is going to be on the best of show that I do at the end of this year.
Well, take it away.
Yep, yep. The last question, I call this an oddball question. It's oddball in that it doesn't have anything to do with cruising. So I know some of your social media following and friends are listening. Welcome to the many Patrice Covington fans and friends. We certainly hope you have enjoyed listening to the Joy Cruising Podcast, and we'll come back to listen to additional episodes. So, Patrice, share one thing that my listeners and your fans don't know about Patrice.
Oh, let's see. Well, yoga changed my life. I love doing yoga. I don't get to practice it as much as I used to, but back in maybe 2012 in my favorite city, Chicago, I fell in love with hot yoga, and it currently, like, when I can get to it, I go. It is always my place of recovery, my place of peace, my place of an excellent sweat, so that I can get it together and just get back to what I feel like is ground zero, a nice, balanced, happy place for me.
Great, great. Have you ever considered teaching yoga?
Oh, no. No.
No. That was emphatic.
No. I love learning and growing. I feel like I have much more room to grow before I feel comfortable teaching someone. But you never know.
There you go. Well, Patrice, thank you so much for coming on the Joy of Cruising Podcast, and all the best in your illustrious career. As I like to say, we will see you on the ocean.
All right. See you there. Thank you so much.
The Joy of Cruising and Cruising Interrupted, each $16.99 plus shipping, and new release, The Joy of Cruising Again, for $18.99, can be ordered at the link on thejoyofcruisingpodcast.com. For each of the 3 books, use the discount code Joy of Cruising Podcast and get $4 off. The Joy of Cruising books are also available at Amazon. Order the ebook at Amazon or your favorite online retailer. Stay in touch by joining the Joy of Cruising Podcast Facebook group or following the Joy of Cruising Podcast on Instagram. We're constantly adding new shows. Please leave a review and tell a friend about us. We hope you enjoyed this brief escape to the ocean. See you next week.